Chief Jesse Curry's kind of pushing for that to happen, but Fritz doesn't want to transfer him on the 23rd because he's still going to try to get a confession out of him. He really doesn't have everything he wants. He does have the gun tied to it now with this photo, right? And the order form and that type of thing, but he just really thinks it'd be better if they had a confession. So the two discuss this, and Curry and Fritz agree that they'll move Oswald the next day, approximately 10 in the morning. They don't set a specific time. Approximately 10 in the morning, okay? So we're still on Saturday the 23rd, and we'll move to 4:30 p.m. that afternoon. But again, the plan is to move Oswald sometime in the morning the next day around 10 a.m. from the city jail to the county jail. Well, what has Oswald not done yet that might seem odd if you're accused of a crime, especially one of this magnitude? What has he not? He hasn't gotten a lawyer. So what he does at 4:30 is they allow him to make a phone call because he wants to secure an attorney. And the attorney that he wants to secure is a New York attorney by the name of John Abt, A-B-T. You're good to go, girl. John Abt. And this is interesting. I found this. This is a picture of John Abt right here. He was a man that collected first day issue stamps, and he would actually get the first day issue stamp and then address it to himself and have it sent back to him so they canceled the stamp. So that's John Abt. Very famous, well-respected New York attorney. And Oswald somehow knew about him and got his name, and so that's who he called to see if he would represent him in the upcoming trial. Well, unfortunately for Oswald, Abt is not there. He's out on vacation. And how many phone calls do they give you? One. Well, they actually gave him another one. And yet he called Ruth Payne. Remember Ruth Payne, the lady that Marina was staying with? So Oswald just calmly calls Ruth Payne and asks her if she would call Abt back, and gives Mrs. Payne the phone number of that attorney. So she tries to call John Abt. He's not there, he's out on vacation. So he makes another call, and he calls Ruth Payne, the lady that Marina was staying with, and asks Ruth Payne if she would be willing to try to call this lawyer for him, and gave Mrs. Payne the number. Now, what's Mrs. Payne's reaction to this? I mean, she's a very nice lady and willing to do it, but what's she most amazed with this conversation? Well, not so much that. What'd you say, Taylor? What?
I said how calm he was.
Yeah, how calm he was. She said I've talked to her on the phone, and you might get a chance to talk to her too. She just was amazed on how calm his demeanor was for how many lives he had just affected. I mean, he didn't have any sense of urgency, no panic. He was just so calm. So she agreed to call the attorney back for him, but she's just astonished on his demeanor, considering the fact he has upset so many lives with his actions. She just can't believe it. Well, Captain Fritz is going to try to make another effort to get the confession he desperately wants from Oswald, so he brings Oswald back into the interrogation room again late that afternoon. And what's he going to show Oswald? That photo. Yep, thank you, Emily. That photo that he has in his possession of Oswald holding the rifle with the pistol on his side, and the publication that Marina took in the backyard of one of the apartments that they lived in prior to this incident. So Oswald is brought back in for interrogation, and Fritz is going to use this final piece of evidence to try to get Oswald to admit that he shot not only Officer Tippit, but also President Kennedy. So Fritz gets him in there, and he shows him the photograph with the rifle that I gave you yesterday, and Oswald immediately says that the photo's fake. He says, "That's a fake photo. That's not my face on that photo. Not my face." He said, well, then he stumbled a little bit when Fritz kind of looked at him funny. He says, well, that's my face, but that's not me. So first of all, he says that the face on the photo is not his, and then he stumbles a little bit and says, quote, "That's my face, but that's not me." Now, this is back in 1963, And we have a thing called Photoshop now where you can be fat as I am and put yourself about 10 pounds lighter just by cutting the photo up a little. Well, he claims at that time that his face was superimposed on another body. And he said, I've never seen that photo before in my life. So he tells Fritz, that's my face, but that's not me. So he claims that somebody basically cut out his face out of a photo and pasted it on that picture, is what he's saying to Fritz. So he claims that his face was superimposed on another body and stated he had never seen that photo before in his life. Now, if you're Fritz, where are you at this point? I mean, we're done. I mean, gee, this guy's, come on. This guy's in total denial. He's the worst liar in the history of mankind. I'm not going to get a confession out of this guy. He just gave up and said, you know, take him back to his jail cell and we'll prepare him to transfer the next day. This guy had done everything he could do, and he had, at this point, just thought, you know, I've had enough. I can't get anything out of this guy. Take him back to his jail cell. We'll transfer him tomorrow morning to the county jail. So that'll take us then to our next subtopic, which is the transfer of Lee Harvey Oswald. Now I want you to keep in mind, because it's important down the line we talk about conspiracy theory, that they have not announced any specific time they're going to transfer him. They said about 10 a.m. Okay? So we're moving on to the next day. At 9:30 a.m. on the 24th, Oswald is brought down again to the 3rd floor interrogation room from his upper level jail cell. So he's brought down again to room 317, robbery and homicide, from his upper floor jail cell. What's the difference between the 3rd floor now than it has been in the past? Nobody there. Remember, it was full of reporters. Where are all these reporters at 9:30 in the morning? Okay, you're close. What were you going to say?
I said outside waiting for
Okay, that's a very good guess. Actually, the transfer was going to happen in the basement of the police headquarters. In other words, they were going to bring him down the elevator all the way to the basement. He was going to come out in a big parking area, and they were going to transfer him. So all the media is down in the basement of the Dallas police headquarters waiting for this transfer. Because what time did they tell him it was going to be? Approximately 10. Actually, some of them have been there, most of them have been there since like 8 in the morning because they really didn't know what time. Okay? But it is 9:30, and Oswald's brought down to the 3rd floor from his upper level jail cell, and the 3rd floor is completely clear of all reporters and media that crowd the hallways the 2 days before because they're all down in the basement. That was a good guess. They're down in the basement waiting for the 10 o'clock transfer. Okay? Well, Oswald is taken back into Captain Fritz's office, and they interview him again. And this time, Postal Inspector Harry Holmes is part of the interrogation. So Fritz brings Oswald back into his office for a little more interrogation, and with Fritz in his office is Postal Inspector Harry Holmes. Now, why would Holmes be there? Why would the Postal Inspector be there? Close. Not so much that, but go with the gun. What were you saying?
You wanted to verify that I was the guy who bought the gun.
Well, that's part of it. You can't use an alias to have things mailed to you. You can't put A. Hydale and have a box. You got to have the right. So Holmes is there because the guy really has violated the law by using that alias to send that gun to him. So Holmes is concerned because Oswald violated federal postal regulations by using an alias, A. Hydale, to receive mail. Okay, so he's concerned about that. But he doesn't say too much at the first. Again, what do you think Captain Fritz's first question is to Oswald at 9:30 a.m. that morning? Lee, did you shoot the president? And Oswald simply answers again, no. Then he asked him basically if he shot Officer Tippit. And he again denies shooting anyone. Okay, so he asked him if he shot the president. He said no. He basically asked him, did you shoot Tippit? He said no. He asked him again if he had ever been to Mexico City. And he admitted he had been there. He finally said, yes, I've been to Mexico City. So Fritz questions Oswald about being to Mexico City, and Oswald finally admits that he had actually been there. And what do you think Fritz asked him after that? Yeah, what were you doing there? And he told him that he tried to get travel visas to both Cuba and the Soviet Union, but was denied. And that is true. He did do that. So he had been in Mexico City. He went to the Cuban embassy, tried to get a visa to go to Cuba. He tried to go to the Mexican embassy, or excuse me, the Russian embassy, to try to get a visa to Russia. This is key information when I tell you what I think he was up to in the end. So he, without doubt, was in Mexico City prior to the assassination, both at the Cuban embassy and the Russian embassy, trying to get an exit visa to go to those countries. And they denied it. Okay?
Do you know why they denied him?
Well, they didn't want him. He's an idiot. I mean, seriously, he's just a goofball. But in his mind, he's going to fix that problem. And we'll get to that thing. Okay? Now, Holmes steps in at this point, and he asks him about the name of Heidel. And he wondered if a man by the name of Heidel ever got mail at Oswald's box. So Holmes steps in and says, I got to talk to you about this A.J. Heidel. Is there a man named A.J. Heidel that actually got mail at your box? Is it possible there could be an A.J. Heidel person and he just has his ID? They don't know. So that's Holmes's point. He asked him about, what's this Heidel guy? And did this guy ever get mail at your mailbox? And Oswald's response was, no, not that I'm aware of. Well, Holmes pulls out this ID that they had that has Heidel with his photo on it. He has an ID that shows A.J. Heidel with Oswald's photo on it. And he asked Oswald, well, how do you explain that? And he simply said, I don't. Well, at this time, Fritz has had fun enough. Okay? So what they're going to do at this point is just transfer Oswald from the city jail to the county jail. I mean, he tried to get a little more out of him. He's just as belligerent and in denial as he was before. Holmes doesn't get anything out of him. So at this point, Captain Fritz just decides it's time to transfer Oswald. And he informs Oswald it's a little chilly and wonders if he wants to go get a sweater to wear from his cell. Oswald agrees. Some of his clothes are brought down to Captain Fritz's office. Oswald picks a black sweater out that he owns to wear to the transfer. So again, Fritz has had enough. He's going to transfer him to the county jail, from the city jail. He said, it's kind of chilly out, Lee. Would you like to get something to put on, a coat or something? So they bring all of his clothes down from the upper floor to the third floor, and Oswald looks through his clothes and picks a black sweater to put on. Picks a black sweater to put on. Now, there were basically three reasons why they made the decision to move Oswald from the city jail to the county jail. Three reasons. First, I've already mentioned. What was it? Yeah, normal procedure. Once a man's been charged on and went through the paperwork process at the city jail, they would transfer him to the county jail, which was the county courthouse. I mentioned that was the building that the limousine went by when Nellie Connolly looked at the president and he said, Mr. President, you can't say that Dallas doesn't love you. Well, the top floors of that courthouse building were the county jail, and that's where they sat until they went to trial. Okay? Second reason is that the Dallas police were getting tired of the media. And they wanted to get him out of the city jail to the county jail because they knew the media would disappear. Okay, they're not going to go follow Oswald to the county jail because there's no story there. He's already been fouled on. But as long as Oswald's around the city jail, the media is going to be around the city jail. So they were tired of that. So they basically wanted to get him to the county jail so they could get away from the chaos of the media. And to be honest with you, they were a little concerned about his safety. There were a lot of people that were upset that he shot the President of the United States. You heard on the Kennedy detail that we watched before Christmas, Kobe Chandler, one of the Secret Service agents, said, man, if I had a chance at him, I'd have taken it. I mean, people were not happy with this. So they felt he would be more secure in the county jail than he would in the city jail. So that was another reason why they transferred him, because they thought he would be more secure. They actually had received some threats during the couple nights that somebody was going to get him. People were mad about it, okay? So they transferred him for normal procedure. They transferred him to get away from the media at the city jail, and they transferred him because they believed he would be safer and more secure in that facility. Now, how are they going to transfer him, do you think, from the city jail to county jail? What, are they going to walk him down there? What are they going to put him in? What type of car? Well, eventually. but what kind of car would you put him in to make it most secure in those days? Huh? How'd you transfer money to make sure nobody stole it? Armored car. Very good. So the original plan was Oswald was going to be moved by an armored car from the city jail to the county jail for his safety. Now, according to police detective Jim Lavelle, the Dallas Police Department actually received numerous calls from anonymous people during the time they had Oswald, threatening either to capture or kill him. Okay? People were upset. It was no secret. They had received calls anonymously from people at the city jail during this process that people were going to try to either capture Oswald or kill him. They were upset about it. Jim Lavelle verified that on many occasions. So when do you think Jim Lavelle thought it would be a better time to transfer him, if that was the case? At night. Okay? So why are they transferring him at 10 o'clock or approximately 10 o'clock in the morning? That's right. Very good. Very good, both of you. Police Chief Curry was getting enormous pressure from the media to display Oswald. They really haven't got a good look at him. Just when he's been kind of wandering around the third floor, the media's seen him, and during that time they brought him in to the lineup room and took pictures, but that was quick. And he was getting a lot of heat from the media to display the assassin of the president. So as a result, Curry actually made arrangements so the press could witness the transfer. He did that on purpose. He told them we're going to transfer him about 10 o'clock. That's why all the media was in the basement. Everybody, it's a big story across the country. Big story. So Curry was getting pressure, and he made the decision that they would transfer the prisoner during the day so the media could have a chance to show the world the assassin of President Kennedy. Now, what delayed that 10 a.m. transfer? That interrogation by Holmes and Fritz. That took some time. So they're not going to be close to 10 a.m. But they don't care. That was just a time period they gave. So, at 11:19 a.m., police officers arrived at Captain Fritz's office on the third floor of the city jail. At 11:19 a.m. It's an important time to write down. We'll tell you why later. At 11:19 a.m. is when police officers arrived at Captain Fritz's office on the third floor of the city jail. And from there, they were going to escort Oswald to the elevator that would take him down to the basement of the city jail, where he would be transferred via armored car from the city jail to the county jail. That was the plan. 11:19, they did arrive. While they were in his office at 11:21, Detective Lavelle was ordered by Captain Fritz to handcuff himself to Oswald for the transfer. They didn't want Oswald to bolt, so Jim Lavelle was given the order by Captain Fritz to handcuff himself to Lee Harvey Oswald. Now this is Jim Lavelle right here. Jim's a really good friend of mine. He just turned 96 years old. I was just at his house this summer. When I was visiting in Dallas one time many years ago, I decided that I'd get myself in the same handcuffs that Oswald was in. So there's Jim Lavelle and I, and he's got me handcuffed in those same handcuffs, the same way he handcuffed Oswald. Now, according to Jim Lavelle, Oswald was very cordial during the process. He put on the black sweater, and as Oswald was escorted by Lavelle, Lavelle said to Oswald in a fairly serious manner, "Lee, if anyone shoots at you, I hope they're as good a shot as you were." That's what Lavelle said to him in kind of a semi-serious tone. So he's handcuffed to him, and he says to him, and if you know Mr. Lavelle, and we might get a chance to talk to him, he's tougher because he's older and it's a little bit tougher for him to do that, but he may tell you that story, but we'll see what we can pull off next week. But he said, Lee, if anyone shoots at you, I hope they're as good a shot as you were. That's what he said to Oswald. Lee, if anyone shoots at you, I hope they are as good a shot as you were. Now, Oswald didn't deny anything. He kind of, according to Jim, Oswald kind of chuckled and told Lavelle that no one's going to shoot at me and quit being so melodramatic. That's what Oswald said to Lavelle. He kind of chuckled and said, oh, no one's going to shoot at me, quit being so melodramatic. Well, despite the humor, Lavelle did remind Oswald of what he was to do if he got shot at. They were making every precaution because they had gotten threats. And when Lavelle reminded Oswald on what he wanted him to do if he was shot at, Oswald responded by saying, I'll just follow you. And Lavelle responded by saying, in that case, you'll be on the ground. So they are talking about the possibility if someone would come after him. This was not by so much surprise. They had gotten threats, but I don't think they really believed anyone was going to do anything during this transfer. But Lavelle has to cover his bases. He reminded Oswald on what to do if indeed someone shot at him. Oswald responded by saying, I'll just follow you. And Lavelle responded by saying, in that case, you'll be on the ground. Well, the elevator, they get on the elevator on the 3rd floor and it makes its descent to the basement. And when the elevator opens in the basement, the area is just full of reporters and media personnel, just full. And they're going to broadcast this transfer of the assassin of President Kennedy on live television across the country. You wouldn't believe how many people in this country were glued to their television watching this transfer. That was the first time everybody really got a chance to see